14th. 2025, it lasts this morning. We had a blood moon in some areas, which I can describe why that was happening. And also, we have Mercury retrograde that started today. I'm on this platform for just a couple of reasons. I didn't let anybody know that I was coming over. You can follow me on TikTok if you're not already. We're doing so much over on that application right now because it's already tuned up. And whenever you're dealing with even us getting information out and even how this YouTube came to be, it was, I don't know if you just saw that, it was connected into a lot of the work that a lot of us were doing unconsciously up until 2012. So just like every other masonry, this particular application is changed a little bit, the same as we had to change the others. I wanted to real quick, this is House of Coochi. So I wanted to come on and we finally got some stuff that in, and this is, I wanted to show up and just kind of show you guys, always sitting on my bed, the amazing prints and all the stuff with House of Coochi. This is House of Cancer, and every, it doesn't even have to be, you don't even have to have the energy. Just remember that energetically, if you don't have any Cancer energy, you still have to get through that part of the wheel. And what these colors and physics do, and every single one is different. This is why we have I have the Cancer stuff, and both me and Michelle, the other creator. Ooh, I'm gonna sneeze. We got major wind going on here, so I'm jumping all over my bed to show y'all. This is the velveteen blankets, and they are heavier. It's just this is a velveteen. So every blanket that says velveteen on it, okay, is gonna have this amazing shimmer. It's Sherpa, thick Sherpa on the other side, so it's weighted. And the velveteen blankets are the ones that we've had the most experience with, not just in the House of Cancer, but the other physics as well. I just got this it's been one night. As soon as I got underneath all of these colors and layers, I started feeling all the blood in my legs circulating more. So I'll let you guys know, this is why we got it. And if you notice on House of Coochi, Cancer and Gemini don't have any write-ups on them yet. And this is why. This is, I know I titled this one because this is etheric. This is the etheric healing Sherpa. The Sherpa blankets are a lot thinner than we thought that they were. There's Sherpa on this side, microfiber on this side, so it's super soft. We were really surprised how soft it was. And this is what this one looks like. And this is an etheric body healing. Now we've got some clothes too that we're getting printed, some sharps and things that you're gonna see coming. But what I've seen with this so far is that it's almost like a cellular regeneration. A cellular regeneration is what it feels like when I'm underneath it. It's a lot different than the Leo. I'd been sleeping underneath the Leo, just the Leo stripes, and I needed that for a while because I was bringing that energy and all those DNA codes back in, and now everything's rebirthing and it's going through an intense healing cycle. And so this is the pieces. The curtains are amazing and they're huge. And I'm even thinking about at some point, we'll probably order one and cut it down the middle because you could probably get two if you don't want it to go all the way across. But the curtains print amazing. your curtain, your windows are portals. So with this energy, you can really tune your house, tune your box, tune your matrix. It's simulation code. So the Cancer is going to be it's going to be like emotional maturity, as it's going to be emotionally igniting. The colors are deep because they're so bright. When I first put it in the room, when I first put it in the room, every time I walked in, I was like, because the colors are so gorgeous and bright, and it really just brightens up like the entire room. I also got the shower portal curtain, which is really cool, which I might show you at the end, because the shower portals, I've only taken one, thank you, I've only taken one shower in there so far, but if you know anything about your showers and your they are portals. So go check the shower curtains out. They're really, really cool. They're different. They all give you a different energetic. And if you happen to know any people that print these things in bulk, let me know. Because right now we're having to do everything drop ship just because there's so many. We've got all 12 houses, and we're already really ready to do specific colors and blankets outside of the houses for specific things like ADD, OCD. I can even kind of tell you which ones of these will help with those things just within the houses, but then mixing up the colors in the houses, we're going to start playing with more as more of you start giving us feedback. I know that the Virgo stuff really works. You can basically think of all of these as etheric crutches. So what these energies will do is attach into the cosmic energy rays straight into your home, because it's all been designed with the consciousness in it. It was purposely designed with the physics of that house and how the energies move in that house to assist you in doing whatever that is. With Gemini, which you'll see, I've got some of the Gemini stuff downstairs. It's totally different. It's really, really bright, and Gemini is going to be more helpful with you building in the matrix. Gemini is going to be more like a tool that you would want to engage to drop your frequency down a little bit in order to enter in industries and try to pull some of that knowledge in. Or if you're having a really hard time with, if you're having a really hard time with split personality stuff, you wouldn't want to get Gemini anyway. But mastering Gemini is, part of the matrix. And so anyway, my point is every single one has different physics. Go read about them. And we are testing the other ones if it's not written up, and to let you know for sure what they're doing. So check it out. It's Kohu32.com and House of Coochi, and it's all written by the houses. I hadn't been on here in a minute. We've been doing a lot of work on the TikTok app, and we had an event go down, not last night, but the night before, live on TikTok, and it ended up being an alchemy session. It was me talking about Anne Hesh and what happened in California with Anne Hesh, and as I was talking about the story and explaining what I knew about it, and also explaining that there were pieces that I wasn't exactly sure what she was actually there doing 100%. It was right then that I basically started talking about alchemy and being an airbender. And next thing you know, I'm holding a ball of energy that at first I didn't know what it was. It had happened once before on TikTok. We had done a group alchemy to where it was catching a lightning bolt and throwing it. And so this was only the second time that this has happened. And it ended up being red mercury. Now, this happened night before last as we were approaching this blood moon and this Mercury retrograde. And I've been talking about this for a while, nothing has changed as far as, and it's been probably a couple of months. I need to plug in my phone, so I'm gonna let you stare at Cancer. It's been a couple of months since I have talked about the 3 different wheels that'll be running with 3 different first houses for the collective, because we're having to merge together 3 different realms. Most people right now, for the sake of calling it something, to be able to have some type of I guess analogy behind it that is the closest to what even maybe some people would know about, would be talking and utilizing the ice wall perspective. The outer ice walls, you know, and all this that people say that they're so scared about, there's no reason to be scared about it. It's all your abilities, and it's all your most ancient DNA. The fact that it was separated from you was the problem. However, whenever you are walking and let's say you're in some type of maze, and you've been locked in the center ring, and it's almost like you don't know how the people are getting up into the ring. It seems to be that they're falling from the sky and they're coming up through the ground because nothing's opening, but more and more people have come into the center ring, and they haven't left for a really long time. We're going way beyond lifetimes. Everybody's been in a bowl together, all these DNA strands together, at least 1 million years. I would venture to say it's going to be more like 4.2 and even more. But just so our minds don't get blown. So you've got a bowl in the middle of all the humans that have been here. And then you've got the ones that are out here that have been separated from the humans for even longer, but have been the ones controlling energetically what goes on in the middle. And for simplistic purposes, we can just basically say that those of us who activated 7 years ago, we came from even outside of what you'd consider your outer ice wall. And for the past 7 years, we have been inside this little bubble where the humans are, activating all of your recessive DNA, so that if you can get your frequency up, then you can connect into these abilities inside the outer ice walls that are already connected within the human DNA on every strand from the outside to the inside of it. You can also say, and this is whenever I talk about going raw, let me explain what that means. There's a very specific process that you go through when you come in here in order to do a procession. Now, this is what the dark side seems to think, that we just make up this stuff willy-nilly. They seem to think that they were the only ones who could see and watch us. Well, the truth is that if you were watching us, and if you were mimicking every freaking move we made, I can promise you that for 400 years longer, we were watching you because we always knew it was going to be you. Now, this is the part that I think they're just now waking up to the fact that they've been caught. Now, here's the thing. They've been completely cut off from the human race. And they've been completely cut off from all cosmic power sources. The sun, the moon, any type of planetary energetic. And it isn't us doing it to them. What's happening to all of them right now, and it's just started because I'm starting to get reports now of how horrible it is and how much pain they're in, but they're only in week 2. Well, here's the thing. Do you know why we had to clean your entire DNA pool? Because this had been being done to us for 4.2 million years. So what's happened is everybody down here, whether you were an MFer or not, you were on this planet and you had a DNA line and you had a bloodline that either started from somewhere and now has ended up to where we are right now. It's impossible to just upgrade very specific humans. Whenever you come in to do a rewrite, now let's explain why we had to do a rewrite. None of y'all could have divine children. The DNA down here, every time that you died and came back in, you lost more and more of your DNA, human DNA, to the point that it was at 0.0248%. This is why we had to activate all of the recessive genes. This is why your Rh negatives had been here, cleaning the karma of the rest of the positive bloodline this entire time. Now, that doesn't mean that just because you're Rh negative that you've got it together and that you are on the right track. I'm just letting all the Rh negatives know that this is why you've had such a hell of a ride. It's also why your frequency is higher and you probably were getting some more of this information than the others, especially if you were following a high frequency route. If you were following a low frequency route, then you went back in the positives because you were supposed to be the one that was supposed to be here clearing it, and evidently you were more evolved, so you should have known that. And if you don't, I'm telling you now, so that you can get on the right path. Because I know it's hard. I mean, you're an Rh negative, you get beat up from the floor up. It wasn't just, you weren't due, it wasn't about you. It was about the rest of the human race and what they were up to. And we had to keep it at a 15% so that the 15% could raise the whole when it was time. But that was 2019. So we're way past that. Okay. What's happening and the process whenever you come in order in rewriting DNA, what that means is that you have all the keys in your DNA and you're so, I'm an incarnate. It's a reason that you have incarnates. Because it's hooked, mine specifically is hooked into Egypt, and it's how the Queen's tombs works. I've talked about this a whole bunch. Now all that does is create an avatar that then has all the keys. Then what has to happen is, in a natural process within astronomy and who we're meeting and who we're coming in contact with and who's picking up the signal, because we're on a planet down here and we're running our own independent signals. So the ones who picked up the signal in 2018 to get this started was who was supposed to be around. It was a group of Rh negatives, and I should have been able to work out all of our differences, clear all the lines. In that group, we ended up having to do a lot with the industry. We also ended up, we blew Metatron. That's just now making light. Metatron's cube and Metatron blue when we resurrected the dead, the deceased, out of the land in Ireland, which happened in 2018. We ascended all of the dead in the ashes and had to activate it in order to even get to step 2. Whenever Metatron blew, the green man came in. The green man came in and led us to Brigitte. After we found Brigitte, I had to put on about 50 people's heads. Sew them back on energetically to everybody that came around me. So that is the process that started the clearing of the Rh negative bloodline. None of this is done by just whatever we decide and whatever we want. If that was the case, this would have been done a long time ago. So the RH negatives, the O negs, tried to take reign. There was some type of partnership with Russia and the government, 100%. I don't have all of it, but also the O negs that I was working with weren't exactly 100% in the know of what was going on. That took over a year. You fast forward, now we are in 2022. Now I'm having to deal with AB negatives alone. However, they were farmed AB negatives and not real AB negative lines, which is completely different. AB negatives that are made in a farm mean that they were specifically breeded for a very specific template that certain ones specifically wanted to take over the human template. So in 2022, at the beginning of 2022, because then this is where we were at, then basically I was forced to bring in the Anastasia keys. I did not want to. I did not want to have to bring back in the Elvis information. I didn't want to have to bring back in the Prince Rogers Nelson pieces of it. I did not want to have to bring back in Anastasia and resurrect that entire Russian line. But because of the situation that we were in, it's exactly what we had to do. When we did that, then what it did was give me basically an out if I got to the end and I didn't have any more groups to put together that were part of making templates. And if I get to the end and the beings that are around me are only Cabal template holders, which is exactly what ended up happening. Since it was at the very end, I had no one else to work with, since the entire spiritual community was only sending me their people to heal, blocking me from YouTube, blocking me from the people, taking my domains, stealing my company. Because I'll remind you that all this information would have been in technology back in 2015 at the latest if they wouldn't have stole the codes to begin with, and you wouldn't have gotten an Obama president, because he's the one who used them. Since we had to, and when we got back from Pismo and had to deal, because basically whenever you go raw, now that means that we've already worked with the humans. We've already merged and dealt with all of that, clearing timelines. This is also why the entire collective has been clearing and clearing and clearing and clearing, because we didn't go back 300 years. We didn't go back 600 years. We didn't go back 900 years. We went 1800 on timelines. Now you can think of that this way if you want, just so your brain doesn't explode. You can think of it as 900 years in the past and 900 years in the future, because basically it's how it works. We were from what you'd consider the future, which is really your ancient past. What happens in what you think is history is what comes next if we didn't pull off what we just pulled off. And it will be what's going to happen to a majority of the current population, at least in the beginning. Hopefully not at the end. That's up to them. Now, why we had to do this is because there is no more energy. There's no more energy. Now, I've been saying this for a couple of years, and everybody on here, but are you hearing me now? Are you starting to get it now? There's no more energy underground. There's no more energy coming from up there, and there's no way to harness it with Ascended Collective. So even if there is an energetic machine that's working, by the way, it's harnessing your human energy in order to make it, because it's what the original crucifixions were for. And I'll just remind everybody that it seems to be everybody only wants to talk about one crucifixion, but no, 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 no. As a whole bunch that became electric poles before they could get to him. Whether you believe the story or not, I don't care. It's a story. Everybody kept writing it. Everybody kept reading it. Everybody kept preaching it. Everybody kept memorizing it. It's still going. So how you got your electricity and all of that, your Wi-Fi is just a whole bunch of us, like sheep, in an electric pen with certain ones of us with activated frequencies. Now, if you go to my TikTok and you look at the video that I did of the moon last night, and I didn't go up at totality, I knew not to be under that blood moon in totality. I went 20 minutes before. But my point is, go look at the video on TikTok and you'll see what I'm talking about. Whenever I'm with my little iPhone, whenever I'm going into the moon, number one, the moon looks about like this big to me. The sun fills up the whole thing and I can make it blow up. And down and up and down. The moon is like this big. At night, whenever my energy field's completely expanded and open and holding, because we were in the simulation. You were walking around on us. We were making your oxygen. So whenever I go and look at the moon, what you see in the background is how the energy moves. I'll start out way back here. I'll be solid black. You'll see one little bitty light. I start zooming in and it, boom, the whole freaking sky is full of light. Then I keep going. Now all this energy over here is going. My point is, that's a wide open energy field. If you go look at that video, that's the energy that's moving around you. In an eclipse, what it does is this. It's all particles. It's slowly moving. The dark don't do nothing to it. It only knows dark. The darkness is what's giving it the shaky. When you shine light on it, then it separates. Then it wants to, like lice, it wants to run over here, or it wants to run over here, or you can actually see the light penetrate it. Whenever I pull back the screen, now you start seeing the sonar rings. If I go way out, everything's like, whoa, nothing's moving. Then I get further and further away, and I hit that sonar field, and all you see is rings of energy moving around it. Okay, this is why I'm on this video today. This smaller ring that everything was hooked up onto. Now, let's just go back. If we've got this outer ring, and let's just say that everyone was crucified in a circle. And then all that energy from way out here, which you'd call an ash and burial and whatever, bones, you're walking on it, you're living on it, you're building an airport on an eye, you're building an airport on a pyramid, you know, the land's never going to move and you're just going to stake your claim on it, because that's the situation that we're in now. It's all harnessed like strings, like tent posts, into this middle circle, because all this energy on the outside, it was what was keeping your dome open. It's also keeping your consciousness for the entire race. It was your brain waves. And I'm not even kidding. And I can prove this in physics. So what's happened at this point now is that all these connections that were out here have been merged together, because there were a bunch of us that were in the center here that grew like Jack and the Beanstalk. We grew like Jack and the Beanstalk up, and we went down. Do you know how? Connections to the human race. The people. Not the grids, not the satellites, not the computer systems, the people. Our energy comes through the people. You put a whole bunch of people in a dome and you turn on their electrical unit, I guarantee it affects the satellites, the technology, and what you'd call everything that's running you. Now, here's the problem whenever you have to do that. You have to change some things the way you were doing it. You also have to process that energy through your body. And you need to be kind to yourself. And you need to realize that that's what you're doing. And the more that you're consciously aware that all you're doing is turning on all the DNA they turned off. Do you want your DNA back? Do you want to have abilities? Do you want to be able to pick up the telepathy? Do you want to be able to put together a line down here in order to set the next 1,000,000 years? Because that's what's happening right now. All of us that came 7 years ago, this is why we let you think we're crazy. You think we would have done it for nothing? You don't know us very well. You're going to get to know us because more of you are going to become like us in many, many ways. The only thing that's going to stop you from upgrading and evolving is you. And to be honest, the entire human race is clear right now. The problem is nobody knows there's another option. All that's happening is you're manifesting the same stuff because you don't realize you can change it. Which is why, at the end of days, propaganda becomes such a big deal. And how it can affect billions of people if you only have 33 on a message that should be going out to every country in the world right now because of the current situation. Which is why many of us were supposed to be your last AB negative president. But this is what you have right now. Does that mean that it has to run the world? No. Not at all. In fact, it's the whole point it was even allowed to happen. In order for everyone to see what my team already knows, because we've been doing it for 7 years. And we can even tell you how this fiasco happened. But everyone down here needs to start witnessing their own power. You need to start witnessing the power of your own thought process. You need to start witnessing the power of a bunch of us coming together with a realistic approach. Not something ridiculous. A realistic approach. And men, you ain't going to get there unless you've got some of us women at the table. You're going to be 20 steps behind because these guys can't keep up with us either. They're saying the same damn thing right now. Well, that's our point. We had to completely cut off from all masculines because we were being used against the human race. Where's our protectors at? If you're and had any communication with any woman and you're a man right now, not a woman, you're a man, and you've had any communication with any of us that you're now figuring out, oh my gosh, they weren't evil. They were actually saving the day. Oh my gosh, they're really the real deal. They just caught the 9 incarnates. Yeah, we did. We were here to help you. To all the ones that attacked us because you thought that we were going to throw you back into the abyss, so then you just decided to take the whole world into the abyss, well, I got news for you, baby cakes. We were here to get you out. And here's the other big, we're now your blueprint. Just so everybody understands what that means, the only way to completely get out of that world is to walk it exactly the way we did. We were the blueprint. And we got out. So to all the orders, the covens, I don't care what it is, man. Number one, we're in the Yahshua line, and our first job is to come take over hell. So hell is closed. You don't get kudos for hurting people. You don't get kudos for signing contracts. You don't get kudos for selling out the human race. In fact, it's opposite. You don't get kudos, and you're not going to get some assignment to do something that you love to do, which is go hurt people. No, hell is closed. Samuel is gone. In fact, we were rewriting it, so he never even came down here, because at the end, the creator was like, oh, well, that was my mistake. I gave him an opportunity to get out. I brought them all with me. Okay, well, this time, they ain't coming. So they're not even down here. Everything that they've been doing and all the magic that they sent, we weren't even here. They were sending it in front of our path. They're trying to walk our path. We weren't even here. Energy don't die. So what you're doing is walking into your own spells. And now y'all can't handle it. And I know it sucks. Y'all thought it was funny, and y'all got in little groups and were laughing about us screaming as you were unraveling our etheric bodies and stealing all of our inheritances. And you don't want to balance up in the physical. So that's what's being done to you. Now, for all my ascended that are wound up in their stuff, it might be a little uncomfortable because it's getting unwound off them, and this is not some individual type energy. What we're talking about wound up on this one could be the electricity, the Wi-Fi, the stock market, digital currency. It could be zip codes from here to here in certain countries and certain corporations. This one is going to be telecommunications. It's going to be patent numbers. It's going to be financial decimal derivatives. And then that's going to be assigned to countries, because look, we's all Mickey Mouses down here. We all were in the end. All of us know that more than we can even describe, to the extent that we command stuff on each other. We freaking state things for each other, because we also know that we manifest things for others faster than ourselves. But a lot of the times we just have to program each other and state those things to each other. You're rich. You're rich. You're this. You're that. You just need somebody else backing you and calling you that, and calling it in. So on the 14th last year, because this is a big week, on the 11th is when the blood healing came in. It had been 12 months. So right now, make a note for the next 4 years, especially, you want to circle March 11th, and you want to put blood infusion, because it's every year it's going to keep building. This is the first year. It's been 12 months, and we felt it. So did the planet. This is why we ended up having a geomagnetic storm. This is why I ended up processing red Mercury out from underneath the Luciferians. Basically. March 13th is the body healing. So the 11th is going to be the blood. The 11th is the energy surge. The 13th is then whenever you're having to kind of, it's not set yet. I didn't say set. It's the healing. Everything's going to start moving. Okay. Well, that happened on the 13th. That was yesterday. This is why it was a blood moon. On the 14th, which is today, last year, this is what I had to do because I was the one going through it last year. We basically were at 0 point, meaning we were dead from here. We'd been killed. We had already claimed all of our higher timelines. This is why we had to claim all of these other lifetimes. This is why we had to elevate back into these outer ice walls in order to claim and dominate the ones that were down here saying that they were who they were to begin with. All of that went into an avatar system, and then it started projecting down. So you ain't got nobody down here. You're coming up just like one of those weird tubes that has all the weird bubbles and the weird that's coming up. But as a collective, not individual. It's not individual. It's not just you out there. This is why it also gets a little bit more difficult and it feels kind of weird. It's not just you. It happens in a group. It's how it works every year. If you get there early, you got to hang out and wait. But this one up here is still coming down. So this eclipse, you got Saturn on the sun, on the hybrid space station in Pisces, which is an old Zeta Reticuli ship, which we basically have repurposed and we've been utilizing, and we took over a long time ago because we took over the whole mutant process. However, since nobody knows, everybody's still freaking doing whatever, then I'm just letting y'all know, so share the word. Basically, it takes a while for your etheric body. I mean, I had to hide out for a year. Now, I had to go all the way down, though. Most of you, my right ear just went out. Most of you aren't going to need to go all the way out. It might just take you a year to activate your recessive genes. That might be all you need to do. But when you activate your recessive genes, it changes how the matrix works around you. Literally all you're doing is learning how to deal with it. And everybody asks, you know, how do you get started? How do you get started on a healing journey? And we're like, we tell everybody the same thing. Get your frequency up. That's it. It'll start. Because this whole bubble already has holes poked out. We're holding the whole thing up. If you're in hell, you're at the back of the bus, okay? You're still along for the ride. You're going to be screaming louder than everybody else. But, I mean, you're still back there. There's only very, very few that are having to make a new cosmic system, and they're already wrangled in a big circle. So, you know, and their queens have been gone for 2 years. We had all of the queens die in 2022. And it wasn't just Elizabeth. The queen of every single sect had a queen vessel that was holding that energy. We still have some patriarchs sitting around. And the only reason they're hanging out is because you got a whole bunch of people down here pointing fingers and going, no. Exactly what they want you to do. Because they don't want you just to concentrate on getting your frequency up so that you can actually affect what's going on. Your frequency starts to come up. Your recessive genes are activated. Guess what comes out of your body into your reality? Your recessive genes. This is how you end up knowing who the heck you are. None of us know who we are. If you think you do, and you haven't started in this process, I can promise you, you don't. For those of us who are adopted, we still are having to get down to the bottom of it. For those of us who are processional beings, that this is our jam, like this is what we do. If you haven't noticed, I'm pretty secure in my words. This is what we do. We don't just do these things on what you'd consider to be an earth plane. But by the way, this is the heart, and earth isn't even in your astrology. When your frequency starts to raise, at first, you're gonna piss off a lot of people. Just get ready for it. The more people that get mad around you or are freaking out, the more power you hold and the more reason you need to keep going. If it's cushy and it's easy, then good for you. Good for you. Good, good, good. But just to all mine, I'm letting you know, the more that you're holding, the more that you will have to prove. But you're ready. You wouldn't be holding it if your recessive genes weren't already holding it. All that happens is what you're doing is your frequency's going up, and now all of the people around you that have been getting one over on you this whole time are gonna get angry because their payday just ended in some sense, form, or another. Whether that's you're doing everything for them, you're creating everything for them. I mean, it's nuts. There's certain ones of y'all that y'all might have 2 or 3 men that act like you're friends, but all they do is call you for emotional support every week. Every single time these 3 people have a problem, they call you. They want you to fix it. They want you to talk them off the ledge. Are they ever there for you? Do you know why they're doing it? Do you think it's just because you give good advice? Do you think it's just because you have a good emotional support system? Or would you beg to think that you're manifesting their reality for them? So then that's why they're calling you all the time. That's why they can't work this out with their buddies with a beer. They need a feminine, usually Pleiadian, high-end starseed in order to process it for them. And are you also aware that they lie to you straight up about this stuff so that you think that there's problems and then you manifest them and then it mirrors back into your life? Do you know that I've even witnessed this happen to where a handler told a woman her son was dead before he was dead and she ended up killing him, thinking he was dead? So let him go. Let him go. The other thing that you'll start witnessing quicker is money, and how money is tuned to how much energy you have in the day, and how you're able to make what you would call money. The longer that it takes you to get that together, the more ancient you are, and the more you're basically owed in this lifetime, from one sense to the form of the other. And it doesn't mean that your bank account's just going to open up and it's going to fall in. If it does, they'll call it a federal crime. They'll come and arrest you, and then they'll keep the money. And that's what they wanted. That's why the collective ain't getting their Nasara Gasara the way you think it is. This is a learning planet. How are you going to help the collective? Because it's what it's all about. Whatever that you want, add a piece of the collective with it. You can still live in a mansion. You can still do those things. But how are you going to get it? You're not going to get it just because you've done your time down here. Unless you've been down here 72 million years. Because if it's more than that, or it's less than that, then you wouldn't get it anyway. Even though you think that you might be the most ancient one. This is not an Earth planet where you come and sit in jail anymore. Those of us that are here that have these abilities, we can make major changes quickly within big organizations. We can even tune energetics of towns. What we can do is absolutely insane. The fact that nobody's contacting or consulting us to do it, I can tell you that we should have gone to the White House and cleaned it in 2024. That's how it was slated. Now, what's happened today is that last year, I had to go in and do the entire 44 recoding of every single body part. The brain, the neuron, vein, vagus nerve, pineal gland, pituitary gland, nerves, your feet, your hands, third eye, nose, mouth, ankle, left, right, moon, sun, Mars, Venus, Saturn, tongue, throat, heart, valve, spine, lung, kidney, bladder, sacral, chakra, root, thymus, urinary tract, uterus, vagina, adrenal, hippocampus, bone, prefrontal cortex, liver, muscle, fluid, water, ear, blood, skin. I finished, and then I had to add the spleen. And then once I add the spleen, I had to rewrite the entire cervical vertebrae. Now, this is 44 masonry, and this is how everything moves in the cosmos. And if you're not aware, the cosmos is how your body works. And all the healings and the babies and everything and the templates that they come in, and if they come in with heart valve problems, or if they come in with a droopy eye, or if they all come in with dyslexia, was all done up there. And if you notice, it was all changing every 10 years. That has been rewritten. This is why none of these children were able to be born by the women down here, because they were all hewed up. Every single divine child was getting miscarried. There was not one family line down here that was able to hold a pure divine child, because all family lines had been manipulated in order to try to hold them. By the end of days. And I just want to remind everybody, what we talk about how it ended up at the end of days is never how it started. Pretty much everything that we think is evil right now had a good intention at some point, but it was manipulated whenever the rest of the human race lost consciousness, and then it's easily changed into something that it's not, in order to do a reverse sequence, which is exactly and the only thing that they were interested in doing. So my point is, everything I just named is currently under construction in the entire collective body structure. Now that's going to do some things. It depends on who you are. Depends on what energy you have. Right now, this is the Notice One template. Now I want to say one more thing, and then I'm going to get off of here. And I might end up on TikTok again in a little bit. The moon that we had this morning is like you're in, and I had to say all that in order to get to this part to be able to explain it to you. In the middle, in the beginning of this video, and we talk about the human race was in this little bubble, and then you had this these outer rings out here, and I don't even care about the middle ones. Forget those. Go all the way out. Go all the way out, because it's got to run through to hit it. And then you had some of us that were beanstalks, like palm trees, going straight up and straight down. We gathered all the way up here. We had enough of the sequences to hold all the races before even Arab, which is how we pulled this off. Arxiad. There is no Arabian, Saudi, nothing that's holding a dominant. Now, it's going to take a minute for that to undo, just because you don't understand the freaking depths that it's even down here in the United States and everywhere else. I'm not going to get going on that because I don't want to be blamed for being whatever, but there's a reason I'm called Princess. And I ain't interested in their crown. This ring right here in the middle, first house Aries wheel. The one everybody thinks is astrology. And I don't care if you're looking at it from the side, if you're telling me it's Vedic, which is behind. And by the way, if you're studying Vedic, Saudi's running you from a first house Aries on a Western. And then you're behind a house. Just FYI. First house Aries, I don't care which way you look at it. First house Aries. Your outer ice wall is going to be your original wheel when we all came in and made the simulation. And that started Leo in the first house. Now, I have some age things, and actually I might put it up on TikTok. I don't remember if I did, but I mean, we've gone through the age diagram on different videos before, because the age of Leo was 8,000 to 6,000 BC. It was the very start of the wheel. Aries in the first house is supposed to be 2000 BC to 4 BC? 2000 AD, you're supposed to have Pisces in the first house. FYI. So what we had to do, because there's that much time that's been messed with, we changed 1,800 years right now until we've got 2 years. It started this month. We'll be changing 54 years. From 1988 to 2052 is what's having to be changed. Rewrites from 1988 to 2052. And it'll go on until May 4th, 2027. Now, these are not etheric. This is 54 years of the past and projected futures that they've already taken. So what I'm telling you is, you know, they're basically, I mean, this is 2052. There's no more energy. 2052, they told you they were taken from the futures and they brought it in here. They just didn't give you all the details. If you're blocked on here, you're blocked from Ascension. DXR, correct? So you just sold off your mother and your children, and you just cut all masonry to every single one of them for coming over here and running your mouth. And you didn't even need to. So when you're in hell, Bill, same with you. Y'all are so screwed. Just keep it up. Keep it up. More of y'all that are down there, you're our battery systems. I mean, you're really going to hate us whenever we're having to tell you what to do. And we're the ones who send you out on your job to make more energy just because you can't shut your mouth. And I'm not sorry, you're not even speaking it. What, your thumbs can't shut up? Everyone on here talking crap, I command all your money energy to be siphoned from you right now. Everybody that's on here talking shit to me, all your money energy is getting siphoned from every dimension, forward and backwards. If you know anybody in the Illuminati, you can go ask them who taught them how to do their channels, because it's me. So keep it up. Money, 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 money. Money. You're really going to hate us. Good. We'll live off your children. We'll live off your energy. We'll make you, everything that you make, we're going to take. Man, y'all flying fucking monkeys. Interesting. Dave Chappelle. Are you gonna say something rude? Interesting, that's coming in. It's probably what I'm looking at, because I really don't care about the flying monkeys, but you know, that one's definitely interesting that it's showing up right here, especially as magnetic as we are. You gonna say something? You have 19 kids in a trailer? Sounds about right. Is that what you're telling me? Man. I'm racist to ignorance. Absolutely. Bye, Dave. Dave Chappelle dies, now you know why. It's Leo in the first house. So your outer ring is at Leo in the first house. The inner one's at Aries in the first house, which also means every house flips on both sides of the pole on the outside of the ice wall. So the full moon that we had was the sun was in Pisces and the moon was in Virgo in the inner wall. In the outer wall, the sun was in Virgo and the moon was in Pisces. And so what's happening is all the energy that's stale, that's having to connect from here to out here, that's what the sun was eclipsing. And that's why I picked up all that red blood out in space on the blood moon, because it's what it is. So this is what you're processing right now. Ignorance. And so I command everybody who's got rogue thumbs to report to Elon and report to Saturn now. And everybody with rogue thumbs on this video, within the next 24 hours, something's going to happen to you or to someone you know. Because we're not going to absorb the energy anymore. You think that you just sitting here doing that doesn't do anything? You're hoping that it's going to penetrate our field. If you haven't noticed, the cabal can't even stop us. You're fucking ignorant to even try. All the ones that you love so much down there are backing us, and they think that you're ignorant and stupid. So I'm just letting you know, if you're talking crap to not only me and typing bullshit for no reason, you can go watch your cars and your horrors on another channel. I'm not stopping you. You don't need to type your crap here. Thank you, Grace. I am making you a moderator because I was looking for someone to make a moderator. Thank you, Grace. And your name's going in the book, along with everyone you're connected to. So we'll let them know that you did it. So here's what's happening. On the 13th, we basically started 2 high timelines. There's going to be 3 timelines running down here. There's 3 timelines that are running. 1 low timeline. These goons are on it. You want to follow them. It's heading straight there. Then you've got 2 timelines. So now this one higher timeline has split into 2. And it's not this isn't frequency driven. It's embodiment. It's how much can you stabilize and hold, and how responsible are you with it, and are you using it correctly, and la 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 la. And it's a process, and eventually everyone's going to be up on this higher timeline. Doesn't mean that one's better than the other. In fact, the ones that are on this lower new timeline probably will start manifesting a little quicker. It might not be the big stuff, but you're going to start stepping up. And it's because we need this one to step up to lift us up, because they're screwed and they're nailed down. So those of us that have been being prepared and and you know, it's all on your soul journey. It's like what you're here to do, what groups you're here to be with. Now, the main thing between this timeline and this timeline is how advanced are you in your etheric body? If you aren't to a point where you can process your energy by yourself and make energy on your own, which is a freaking process that took me 4 years. Now, it doesn't mean everybody has to do that now, because etherically we have a system. My point is, when we're talking about the Gateway Project, we're talking about Zeta Reticuli, and we're talking about basically this ship that we just had this full moon on, with Sun on Saturn. So Saturn, see, these goons aren't worried about it because they've never experienced Saturn, but just wait a minute, because Saturn's been off for 1,800 years thanks to Saudi, and these guys are about to learn. Good. They need to learn. They'll at least stop their thumbs from moving in places that it shouldn't be going. Now, what that means is, if you're on the ship, you're etherically all working together. So you're probably going to have you're going to have dreams again, you know, kind of like how we were having them in 2018, where you'll get visited by healers. They might take you to a classroom. It might even be me. I show up a whole lot in y'all's dreams. Or you're on a ship and you're working together, or you're trying to get out of a house. You're all trapped in a house, because that's the water gating. You'll have these dreams as a collective because you're clearing out of it as a collective. The point is, you're all working together in one universal body, and when you're coming out of it, you've all had specific things that you were doing. You weren't doing all of it. You were only doing pieces of it. You were in a machine. You were in a simulation. You were in Sector 5. You didn't even know what was going on in Sector 1. Okay? So when you get this ship, and even in a way this Gateway Project, and if you don't get your body by the time this separation occurs, because this is a process that the cosmos is set up for us, it's not going to be here forever. Whenever these 7 years pass, this tribulation passes, then there will be a separation, and everybody that's still on the ship, then you'll go up into Star Ring, and that is where you will be for at least 1,000,000 years. Now, for the rest of us, it's like Star Ring is an in-between. It's kind of like getting out of jail and going to the halfway house. But you're at that halfway house, and you're in it etherically, hopefully, unless you've been really bad, or unless you're on here talking crap, or unless you've set one of us up and you thought that you were going to get away with it, and then you sent your flying monkeys over here in order to talk crap. But for the rest of us, you're working together in an etheric team. Everything that you're learning, everything that you're reading, everything that you're trying to figure out, you're doing it in a team. There's different ones that are bringing in different information. That's what downloads you get, because someone else connected that piece and you connected this piece, and it's all going up into one consciousness, and you're working together. Well, you have to understand how everybody works together, because when everyone leaves the ship, you got to run all the parts. If you don't know what everyone else is doing on the ship, then you don't know what to do whenever that goes. Whenever you at least understand and have the consciousness that there's somebody running this and somebody running that, and then you understand how your abilities work, and then you're on your own and you go, oh crap, that was something that Dawn used to do. Dawn, link in with me, check in. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? It at least gives you some type of reference. You don't have that. You have to be trained. And so basically that's what's happening. And this is what's happening with these two timelines. However, remember, we're all as a collective bigger than this little ship. It's basically like if your etheric body is still at Firefly and but you're raising and you're connecting, then you're gonna go on the ship because you're developing your telepathy and blah 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 blah. You're gonna feel more comfort. You're gonna get on and you're gonna be like, whew. Okay. Eventually, when your powers get strong enough, you're going to want off that damn shit. Right now, for the state that we were all in, you're on the etheric shit. You're exactly where you need to be. And do not worry about it. It's almost like whenever your frequency gets to the point that it's ready to run on your own and the cosmos runs around and we're back at this place, it's just going to pop. Now, what I'll tell everybody that's going into the gateway right now is that the next off point is August. So we aren't even talking a year. There's going to be an op every August. We ascend out of the gateway. And then November, you ascend out of this little bubble into an etheric larger pattern. Every year, like clockwork. We've been charting it for 2 years. Because we wrote it. That's how we got out. So we know exactly when it's going to open up. We know exactly when the doors are going to open up. We know, and every year it's getting easier. It's just happening. Everyone just doesn't realize that that's what's happening. So it's March, April, May, June, July. And by the way, this March isn't even going to be printed and set until May. Okay, so you're 4 months for the first off ramp. If you don't make it by August, you can't get out in November. You're going to do one whole cycle around. It's not that you're going to go worse. Your energy is going to get higher. You're going to start learning how to do things. You're going to be making changes. You're working your process. You're living your journey. You're figuring out who you are before you get off the ship. Because once you get off the ship, you got to get down and stake a claim all at once. And if you think that it's over once you get off the ship, stay on the ship. Because once you get off the ship, now you're dealing with all the entities on the outside of the outer wall ring that have had your crap this whole time. And it is energetically what you're learning how to deal with on the ship. As long as you're using your abilities to help others, as long as you're using your abilities for yourself, as long as you're not remote viewing random people, trying to jump into their body, trying to dictate what happens to others, trying to dictate a timeline, trying to make it exactly what you want, trying to get the exact lover that you want, trying to get the exact na-na-na-na-na, because that's abuse of your power. You ain't gonna have it. If you're not doing that, then you better start. Because if you're remote viewing, then it's being done to you. The only way to have complete knowledge and knowing at one point, because it'll take a minute, that no one's watching you, is if you're not doing it to others. If you're doing it to others, then it's going to keep going on. You don't dictate what happens. You break the chain. You break the cycle. And then you claim. And then you wait. When you do it that way, It'll line up exactly how it's supposed to, and it'll tell you the whole story. And it'll blow your mind. And that's what we all need. That's what we want to hear. We want everybody's crazy freaking story, down to the bone, all the way back to one. How the hell did this get this out of whack? And who are you? Because whenever you find out that your parents and your family line owned the Orient Express and started the travel industry and owned all the airports back then guess what? Your energy controls the airports. You control the railroads. You control the railroad lines. You control the travel industry. And you don't have to own nothing. You ain't got to manage nothing. In fact, if they stole it all from you, then you got way more power, because they should have just let you have it, because then you would have had to run around and manage it like an Elon Musk. We are Doge, all the way up and all the way down. And we can lock those keys whenever we need to, because it's a big machine system. This is resurrection, and we prove Saint Sarah. So every single one of us have died. And it's not a near-death experience. It's basically you died in another timeline, but you proved. And since they took us out usually the only reason that we were dying is because we were here completing something. Basically, when you get to that point, then you'll be resurrected, and then you're going to step into the one that was killed before you. You immediately upgrade. And then what we had to do is end up walking all the rest of these stories, including Jesus, that didn't get finished. And it's basically what you're doing in these lines. That's why by the end of it, you will know exactly what family lines you're connected to, because, not because you're reading it, because it's going to show up in your reality. It's going to show up. You're going to have to deal with it. It's your RNA. If you got a COVID test, you gave it to them. Your RNA is what prints your reality. They changed all the RNA. In fact, what's about to be projected to the ones down here ain't at all what it is we just came from. Epstein got the Israel keys. Every single one of those DNA lines was set to die off. Especially Abraham. And it wasn't us did it. Like I said, we were here to let everybody out of the abyss, but they decided to put themselves back in it. They thought that they knew what entities they were dealing with. You had no idea at the end of days what entity you were dealing with. And the devil and Satan look like Boo Boo Kitty and Garfield compared to what the hell we were dealing with. And I think if you look around at what and how the world's gone, especially come January 1, 2025, you'll hear what I'm saying to you now. Whenever I got on that live TikTok day before because I didn't know that was going to happen, I was crying because I saw a couple of things that triggered. I knew exactly what was coming because we have all your future codes. We know exactly where we should be right now. We know how it should be set up. They know that. And it won't be allowed much longer for any back and forth to even happen because it's wasting too much time. The more of you that just command, no more. No more. The quicker that'll come. Because every single one of the souls that say it, and if you've been cleaning your energy and your timelines, you'd be surprised what vote you're putting in and how many votes you have. Thank you, Grace Aquarius. Thank you. 100 years ago, you'd be dead if we weren't here. And you never would have been born. And now you can go to a padded cell. Of course you'd put me in a padded cell. Because I'm here to take down the Roman Empire. Same as we have since the beginning. But sure, you can say I'm preaching an old tune. That's what's so crazy. I'm preaching the most ancient story, the one that's lived down here the longest. The fact that all of you think that it's something new, but it doesn't even matter. We don't care. We don't. We don't care. And I'll remind you that we're all your archangels and your angelics, and God, and Jesus. We don't care. This is what y'all want to do whenever we give you pure Gnostic information. You want to act like muggles. You want to prove their point, which is humans can't handle the information and you can't handle the power. And if you continue to act like that, then you're at the back of the bus. And the back of the bus used to get 100K. Shh. Not anymore, honey. So anyway, if you weren't on in the beginning, this is the camp we've been processing this energy. I love y'all. Thank you for showing up. Thank you. Thank you. Follow me on TikTok. This is where we're at right now. Check out cohu32.com. We'll be done with the cards by the end of the month. They'll be out by May. So there's a reason that it's even needing to wait. Y'all are going to basically be able to get a whole deck of cards, get a coloring book, and you're going to be ready to go. If you just have $4.44, just sending us $4 helps start cleaning your money. Like literally. It'll start cleaning all the energetics. Now it's anything that you buy. But this is why we did it the way we did it. Same way Trump signing checks. We're undoing that stuff in your energy lines. We need to clean our money lines. None of y'all know how to do it. None of you know how to do it. So $4.44 is how much the one pager is. I don't have it next to me right now. That gives all of the colors of Cohu 32. It's $4.44. We send it to you immediately within 24 hours in an email. You can print and make a whole bunch of copies. You can hand them out to your book club if you want. In that email, we'll put how to pull your chart. That way, you'll at least know what energies you have, so that whenever we're looking at the chart on a daily and talking about where these are, that, you know, if you have Zeta Reticuli energy and you didn't know and you got heavily energetically, you know, last night and right now, you know, you just need to know. As soon as we were all put in weird programs. So a bunch of us angels came in. You can think of it as angels, incarnates, whatever. Ascended Masters came in, we took on Zeta Reticuli in order to clean it. Some of us took on Alpha Drac, and that was just a longer haul in the deep. This one was out here. They met on the dark side, okay? So, and made something new. So $4.44, and then there's one on there for $7.77 that gives you all the gifts. It's it's almost the amount of book. It's like a book. It's one big piece of paper. So for $12.21, you can get both of those. We send you how to pull your chart, and you can at least know what's up. You'll also start understanding what colors to wear, what energy you can wear. Right now I've got purple on and green. So green's a major magic alchemy color when you're dealing with magic and you're alchemizing, transmuting. This is a Scorpio color. Purple is going to have all your archangel colors in Aquarius. So, you know, I'm mixing it up, but these energies in a simulation that's got a pressure cooker on it work. It's basically having all the matrix keys. It's being able to use the subliminal messaging in your life to create your reality for you and your family and the people around you. The whole world set up in a matrix mirror grid. You're a light being. Whatever energy you project out is going to project back to you, and on its way down, it's going to make whatever energy you're putting out. If you're lining your energy with these things, and I'm just not even saying you have to buy my stuff, but if this energy is making you feel a certain way, pull out the pastel clothes in your closet, hang it over your door, hang it over, we're all about doing it on no money. We understand. However, if you want a chart now, a written chart, I will start doing them again, but they're $300. It's on the website. We're really pushing you to get the coloring book and to do this slower. But if you 100% know that you need to get 100% aligned and activated all at once, you have no family you're worried about, you have no this, no that, and you are ready to 100% get hued up and aligned all at once, I can do your chart. Otherwise, get the coloring book, do it slower because you've got time. It's not going to feel slower. If you activate all at once, it tends to create problems. And until I have a group that's trained to assist the ones that we're doing the chart, this is how we're having to do it because we've learned our lessons. All right. I love y'all. It's Chastia Brijatriv. It's been a pleasure talking to you today. We already won. We got this. The rest is just a process. And for one more time, hell is closed. Please report to higher levels for instructions. Somebody's standing by to greet you. Come with a smile, no ego, no attitude, and everything will be wonderful. All my door people, get ready. They're coming in.